given by either set of players.
No, absolutely. Both teams desperate to try and get that first win. And they put absolutely everything into that, both sets of players. So you cannot fault any of the effort given today. You know, also by Everton, they were harrying, closing, trying to make the game bitty, trying to break up play. They knew they were under the caution the last 15-20 minutes. They always carried that threat on the counter-attack, which thankfully nothing came of. But in the end, you know, it's all down to the quality in the final third, and both teams, I suppose, on reflection, lacked that real quality that you need to take control of a game. So in the end, yeah, you'd have to say that a draw is probably a fair result.
Once again, is Steve Cooper leaving with some positives from the game, despite claiming the 3 points that he must be desperate to get now?
Yeah, I think, you know, we can all sit and analyse, and it's easy to criticise and everything else. You know, number one, what you want from your players is a performance. And you definitely got that today. This was a proper old school, good old battle royal, Premier League battle royal. So absolutely no complaints for that. You talk about the quality in the final third. But then again, you're talking about defensively. Can we keep a clean sheet? Can we go 94, 95 minutes without conceding? And unfortunately, that is the only part, you have to say, of Leicester's game that is missing at them. They've conceded in every game now, and that's obviously a bit of a concern. They haven't conceded 2 goals, which is a bit of a plus, but you know, they need a clean sheet to win a game of football at the minute, and that for me is the slightly concerning thing.
Players going around the stadium, clapping the supporters, talking amongst themselves of how maybe Leicester could have claimed the 3 points. And our Leicester legends will do the same very shortly. Jerry joined by David Nugent, Matt Elliott, and of course Dan Bates. Full time here inside King Power Stadium. Leicester 1, Everton 1.
Thank you very much, John. Yes, 1-1 it finished here at King Power Stadium. Yet again, a game of 2 halves here at home for the Foxes this season. David Nugent and Matt Elliott are alongside me, Dan Bates, on the sofas here in the studio. Jerry Taggart will remain in his commentary position as we dissect that 90 minutes. And we'll start with you, Matt. Is 1-1 a fair result?
Yeah, I think so. Jerry, John had just touched on that. I think neither side really wanted the draw, but they're just saying the news before we came back on air that it was probably the most likely result before the game. You know, both sides sort of short on confidence a bit, short on points, short on, well, relatively short on goals, not necessarily in Everton's case, but the way it panned out. I mean, overall, I mean, Leicester heavily dominant in terms of possession over the course of the game, but Everton had the more shots at goal, more shots on goal. So it was mixed emotions, wasn't it? Mixed sort of outcomes really there. But I think overall, both sides absolutely gave their all, as John Dunn mentioned there. Didn't give an inch. It wasn't the prettiest. Rare glimpses of quality throughout. I thought Mavididi was exceptional in the second half, not just with his goal, but Leicester showed great spirit again, and they hang in games, even if they're not playing particularly well. We've seen that in pretty much every fixture, haven't we? Yeah. Every fixture. You know, that they haven't set the world light by any stretch of imagination, but they've hung in there, kept themselves in with a shout, and they've come out with something. And I was just thinking to myself, listen, it didn't work today in terms of a win that everyone was hoping for. But if you go on points, so what's that, 3 points in 5 games, doesn't sound that good. Get a win on the next one, it's 6 in 6. You carry that on for the rest of the season. Strange as it sounds, that's your job done.
Yeah. Well, you need 12 wins, don't you, to basically stay up? Like it's your 36 points, close to 40, but...
Well, yeah, if you put it that way. But I mean, you know, even if you eke out draws, 6 points in 6 games, all sounds, you know, they're not a million miles off that, and that's not too bad a tally. But we shall see.
It was better in the second half, weren't it? We all agree that Leicester were probably, since when Leicester equalised, you know, there's only one team that were going to win. The fans got behind them,
chasing and snapping after the heels, weren't they?
That's
the ball back.
Anything does that, like a goal just gets everyone going, doesn't it? Gets the players going. You find a little bit more energy. The fans get behind you a little bit more. But yeah, you've seen Everton start to tire, towards the end of the game. That's been their downfall throughout the season, taking the lead, losing it, not hanging on to it. And it almost happened again today, 1-0 at the end there. That shot blocked. Great block by, I think it was Tarkowski in the end, weren't it? Looks like that was going into the bottom corner. But yeah, Leicester deserve, credit for coming back into the game again.
You wonder why Leicester, more often than not this season, Tottenham, Fulham, Villa, Leicester against Palace today, slowish starts. But then how do they start to get the upper hand in certain phases of those games? Not all of them, but you think, well, why can't you be more prominent from the start? But
it's like you need to kick up the backside before you get going. Like it takes like a half-time team talk to get them going, or
do they think? Do they want to be a little bit cagey, a little bit safe from the off, and that doesn't necessarily suit them?
It doesn't, because every time they're going behind, so they need to change something.
Yeah.
From the start, definitely at home.
Jerry, what do you think the mood will be like amongst the supporters? Similar to us? Will there be a bit more frustration, do you think, after that one?
It's hard to gauge, after going a goal behind, to a good move, even though, James Justin just switches off slightly for the goal. Don't get me wrong, it's a good move. It's lively play from him and then Harry Winks on the edge of the box doesn't really offer anything up in way of a defensive wall or a defensive block. It's a good finish. So after 12 minutes, you're thinking, right, how do we get back into this game? And really, in that first half, Leicester didn't offer too much of anything at all in an attacking sense. So I think they come out the other side, getting the equaliser, yet again bossing the second half, but without, as I said in my summing up, having that real quality at the end. They had so many forays into the final third, but just couldn't quite knit the passes together when it really, really counted. So they've got to be pretty satisfied. And look at the players. You don't hear the players, the fans bemoaning the players at all. There's no boos, because the effort is there, the intent is there. It's just that little bit of quality that's lacking when you most need it, and that at the moment is the difference between coming away with a draw or winning this game against a rival bottom 6 team.
Yeah, I think when Leicester get to that stage, which hopefully they do, where they can blend the two, like.
We've got to remember it's a new management, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. There's a little bit of that coming together. New players, new approach, etc., etc. And it's a new proposition, new challenge as well in the Premier League. And he's trying to get the basics right, I feel, first, and then try and build on that. But you have to do it sooner rather than later as well. There's always the pressure to pick up points, and they're just off it a little bit. Collectively, in terms of that slickness that Jerry's sort of mentioning there. But I don't think it's a million miles coming off together. I don't think they're going to tear teams apart regularly, but they have that capability, don't they, to link up. They've got the right blend of players. But when I say blend, with that passion, that spirit, that drive, that determination that they've shown on numerous occasions. And that's not necessarily something that was associated with Leicester last year that much. They didn't have to that often, did they? But even then, when they had to dig deep, they did on occasions. But there's a good togetherness about the squad that Steve Cooper's intentionally creating, and he seems to be doing a decent job of it as well, because there were no people shrinking away from the challenge today, and everyone sort of rolled up their sleeves and said, okay, we're not playing that well, but we'll hang in there and we'll try and turn it round. And they did, to an extent, and no one would have begrudged them if they nicked a late winner there.
You can say that for every game you played this season.
Yeah.
Because they've all, again, another close game, 1-1 at home. Tottenham 1-1 at home, Fulham 2-1 away. It's only a goal in it, really.
Yeah.
Palace 2-2 away. So they're in games.
Probably Fulham was like the least impressive. But the others, they've been in there right to the end.
They've been right into the end, and you easily could have won that at the end there. So it's just small margins are just not happening for us at the minute. And when they come together, I'm sure we'll see a lot more home victories and getting that first one on the belt.
A lot of credit goes to the players as well, because the way they played last year,
So it's completely different, isn't it?
It's pretty different contrast, isn't it? Yeah, you know, it was all about the technical structure, etc. And as I think Steve Cooper said, you know, yes, he likes to play good football, but it's got to be good, honest, and realistic play as well. But he doesn't mind people having what's up with a bit of grit and fight and determination that all teams need at certain points, and he seems to be instilling that in Leicester.
Yeah, you do see that, Jerry, don't you? And going forward there, it reminds me a bit of that Tottenham game. Leicester could have gone on and won that, even against Villa late on. They were really pushing for an equaliser, weren't they? Throwing everything forward. We've seen it again today. We just haven't quite seen that late goal go Leicester's way just yet.
Yeah, I think, you know, it's a real positive that you know, even when they go behind, Leicester, their heads don't drop. They don't get disheartened. And they've got good. It shows they've got good characters in the team, in the side, in the squad. It's that, you know, even if they do go behind, that they're able to come back from that. You know, put it to one side and just try and get on with getting back in the game. And as you said, we've seen that on more than one occasion this season. Well, that's happened, unfortunately, but they've got themselves back in the game. It would be nice to see them, you know, take the lead and keep a hold of it, unlike, you know, the game against Crystal Palace. That's the only thing that's missing for me, is, you know, seeing games out. You know, if they can see games out, or they can keep it 0-0 and try and take a lead again like they did against Palace, and see a game out, then you're starting to motor them, because they've got some good characters. And you see that on the pitch. You see the performance that they're giving on the pitch as well. So, you know, but it is a positive that when they do go behind, that they're able to brush that off and say, all right, let's go again.
Speaking of exciting attacking players, Jerry, and play, Stefan Mavididi was possibly the best player in Leicester Blue, I would say, this afternoon. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I do. I think he was our most productive. He was the most dangerous player. Time and time again, he give James Garner a bit of a headache down the left-hand side. And, you know, on another day, some of the crosses he put in, and all right, his crossing wasn't, especially with his left foot, wasn't absolutely bang on, but he put some lovely balls into the box. And he's put one right onto the head of Caleb Bakole, who unfortunately couldn't steer it towards goal. And when Leicester broke the play up from, say, an Everton counter-attack, you know, he was always that out ball for Leicester to get us up the pitch and try and create another goal-scoring opportunity. So yeah, you know, he was a standout player today. But there was good performances all round today.
Yeah, for me, Mavididi in the second half was unplayable sometimes. In first half, I think Garner probably had the better of him. Then second half, I think he kind of switched the button, didn't he, and decided to have a go. You know, Garner every time he got the ball, and he was coming inside, he was coming outside. You know, it was just a threat down that constant left-hand side for Leicester, and, you know, credit for him coming out in that second half and playing like that, because, you know, first half, you know, most of the Leicester players were non-existent, weren't they? But, you know, he stood up to the challenge. You know, managed to, you know, get another goal as well. You know, and probably deserved that for a second half performance.
Yeah, I just gave you a little nudge, Batesy, before, didn't I? Before, as the ball was coming in the corner, so this is probably Leicester's best bet today. You know, set piece scramble. You just said Mavididi.
I said Mavididi was free.
He's just gone sauntering in there. I mean, there's a whole gaggle of bodies there. Weak defensive play from Everton there with Keane and what's the other centre half? Tarkowski. Yeah, I had a blank there. Sorry, but yeah, I mean, listen, it was nothing more than Leicester deserved, though, really, and Mavididi in particular. He was outstanding, really, and that's got to give him great heart, because, you know, there's questions whether he could step up from the Championship to the Premier League and still cause a bit of havoc, certainly against Ghana today, that second half. I thought what Leicester did a little bit better than maybe at times before was give him the ball and leave him. Sometimes there's been a tendency to sort of crowd his space out, Mavididi, and he very rarely gets that chance one-on-one with space. You do that, his dancing feet, most right-backs are going to be in a muddle.
They're going to back out, especially James Garner when he's
he's not a natural right-back, is he?
That should have been the game from the off.
He was getting turned inside out, wasn't he? And really should have targeted that. And I thought maybe, I was surprised when he came off, to be fair. He didn't look that tired to me, but there'll be reasons for it. And, on the other side, perhaps, Ayew does a good job, but I think Ashley Young will be pleasantly relieved that he didn't have to face Fatawi
especially
all
last 10
afternoon.
minutes.
Even when he came on, he went on the left-hand side, didn't he?
Yeah.
But listen, overall, a deserved point from Leicester. Showed good heart after that first half performance. A lot of people were a little bit despondent, and understandably so. But they gave a good account of themselves in the second half.
Jerry, I feel like we can still hear the weather out there, the rain still teeming down. How much of an effect do you think that had on the game today?
Yeah, there's no question on the quality. I think, the turnover was quite a lot. Ball turnover was quite a lot, wasn't it, for the whole game? It was the ball retention was patchy for large parts. That I don't know how the players cope. I don't think I've ever seen anything as bad as that, and for as long as that as well. But yeah, it's going to affect the quality, and I thought for the most part the players dealt with that pretty well. I think there was that one right at the end there when the balls dropped to Calvert-Lewin, but James Justin's got up and just put him off a bit, and you're thinking that as the conditions got something to do with that, where the ball just sort of you splice it or slice it, and you don't quite get the clearance you want. It drops down, and those are the types of when you have those conditions, those are the types of scenarios that can arise. You've got to be really sure when you're clearing the ball as well, which for the most part I thought they were, whether that was a Coley or Fass when the ball was coming into the box. So yeah, I thought they dealt with the conditions defensively really well. On an attacking scenario, then maybe that was partly the reason why we just didn't have that bit of quality that you need in the final third of the pitch because of the conditions and the way the ball was playing.
There was a chance for Caleb Okoli, Matt. We spoke a lot about him pre-match, didn't we? About how impressed you've been with him defensively. Again, we saw that today. From an attacking sense, though, he missed a golden opportunity during the second half.
Yeah, I'm sort of in two minds with that one. Initially, I thought, what's he done? He should have got over the top of that. But then it did come at him, quite sharply. But I think maybe what a natural centre forward maybe would have done would sort of read the flight or anticipated the possibility of the ball coming in at that angle that it did, because it was slightly flighted, and preempted it with a little bit, getting ready to prepare to jump. He jumped late. Well, he ended up not really jumping, did he? He just sort of like raised himself a little bit, and he just headed it over the bar. Whereas if he'd been set and eager and anticipating, he could be thinking, this ball's likely to come in, I'm ready to pounce. So if he'd have got 6 inches up in the air, he gets over the top of that, and that's a goal. And
I think just come out in the back of that, I think it's just a little bit of an experience, like Matt says, Dan. If you're a centre forward and you see your player, he's on the byline, but he's only 6 or 7 or 8 yards away from you, and you sort of know in your mind that there's only one type of ball or two types of ball that he can put into the box to get it onto your head.
Yeah.
And an experienced centre forward or a centre half, like Matt says, would already be in the air when that ball's coming at him. So he's already over the top of it and timing it on the way down.
Yeah, I think we saw that in his reaction, Jerry, didn't we? He was frustrated with himself, thinking, I know what I should have done, but I didn't do it. It's too late now. But I thought generally he was excellent.
Kit was too heavy, weren't it? All the rain. Couldn't get off the floor.
Yeah, the water in his shorts dragged him down. But no, he was. I mean, I can't remember any mistakes that he made. Really, not of any real degree, which is a good sign as a defender. He was, sharp in the challenge, robust, covers the ground well, kept the passing nice and simple. But he can pick a pass, he can play a pass into midfield when the time's right. Yeah, I was pretty impressed with him, especially at such a young age, and he's learning fast, isn't he?
He is. In terms of not being able to go and find that winner, you could at least see that Leicester were going for it there, Nuge, can't you? And then, to be fair, then the game was quite open because Everton were sitting back and taking the point, rightly so, away from home. But Leicester were throwing everything at it. It's not like Leicester decided, oh, we've got the equaliser now, we'll sit on that and we'll take a point. They really did go and try and find
the home team, they're in the ascendancy once they score. As I said earlier, there was only one team that were going to win it. But when it went 1-1, Leicester threw everything forward. Everton tried to hit on the counter-attack, but I think Leicester were that far up the field. Like every time the ball went up to Dom Calvert-Lewin, he had 3 players around them, so they just won it straight back. It was like wave after wave for Leicester the last 20 minutes. But yeah, it's hard to do that for the whole game, and you can't do it for the whole 90 minutes because your players just get absolutely shattered. I think you've got to manage the game in the first half better, and then obviously push towards the end, which they do because they were gaining energy from the crowd, from going forward, winning the ball up high.
It's amazing how that works.
It's
you pick up off the crowd. I mean, at the end there was one about 5 minutes to go, 7 minutes or something. Wilfred Ndidi broke through, and he was constantly nicking the ball. And I think they were in like a 4v2 situation, wasn't it? And
did he try and shoot?
All he really needed to do, or just slide it out to Mavididi, who was absolutely on fire, the 1v1. And what about the other one with Edouard as well at the end? That was a 4v2, and he only had to slide it across to one of 3 colleagues. Leicester would have had a decent opportunity to get a shot on target at least, but just little things like perhaps he was a little bit too keen to make a mark. I think Edouard, I don't know, coming on being a hero, but hopefully his time will come as well. But listen, quite a lot of options out there again, though, wasn't there today? As you said, variety there for Steve Cooper. Although he didn't make multiple changes till later on, was it? Really, he made them. Could have made a few more earlier, possibly. But all said and done, find myself saying, not for the first time this season, not a bad point overall. With the prospect of bigger and better things maybe to come.
Yeah, it's not a bad point, Jerry, is it? That Matt makes there when you think about it. Obviously, next up in the league is Arsenal away. That's going to be a tough one. But then
forget that 6 out of 6.
After that, though, there are winnable games for Leicester coming up, and today obviously was another one of those winnable games. But as we keep reiterating, under new management, they are still building and still learning. Yeah,
I think, but without trying to pour scorn or pour cold water on what you're saying, there has to come a time though when, okay, next week's a bit different, isn't it? You're coming up against a well-oiled machine in Arsenal, who have had 2 or 3 years now under Arteta, who's built the team, built the squad, who are competing at the very, very top level. But Arsenal aside, it's your home games against teams like Everton. It's your away games against teams like Crystal Palace where you take a 2-goal lead and you don't concede straight after, and you don't end up with a draw, and you come home and you put these games to bed by hook or by crook. So that's got to start to happen pretty quickly. But the signs are good for that happening. That is the biggest plus. That the signs are really, really good.
Sorry, Jerry. Yeah, you're right. And after that Arsenal game, news, it's Bournemouth at home, Southampton away, Forest at home, Ipswich away.
There's 12 points, don't it?
Yeah, that's all you need, isn't it? No,
obviously,
Arsenal's got to be really hard. Obviously they're gunning for the title this season, aren't they? Again, did you get that?
No pun
intended. But that'll be the toughest game. But you said the fixtures after them 4 fixtures are huge, massive for Leicester. If they could go to Emirates, try and keep it as low as possible. And then you've got these 4 games coming up, which will be crucial because they're the teams that are going to be in and around us, come end of the season. If Leicester do struggle, in that bottom area of the table. So they're the games you need to win, the teams around you. 4 massive games, 12 points up for grabs. You could easily win 12 out of 12 there.
Yeah, you never know. Could win at the Emirates next week as well. There's a League Cup game as well. Before that, of course, Walsall on Tuesday evening, as ever, for every single game this season. You can join us here on Fox's Hub for Match Day Live as we build up to each of those games. Starting with that one on Tuesday, it is a 7:45 kickoff at the Bescott Stadium. So we'll be live from 6:45, followed by that trip to the Emirates. It's another Saturday, 3 o'clock. So we'll be live again from 2 for that one there. Matt, I'm assuming, is it you down at the Emirates again next week, is it?
No, it's not. Mr. Tony Cottney's taking a little venture for me.
Very nice.
Gerald's away, golfing in Portugal or somewhere on holidays, and then myself and, not you, Nooch?
No, don't think it's me,
No.
mate.
Walshy, maybe.
Myself and another.
You and
Shooting
probably.
next Saturday. You've got to put up with me on commentary on Tuesday, though.
That's a shame. That's a shame. All right, well, thank you very much to Jerry, to Matt and to News for their company. Also to the Mercians as well for joining us. If you missed that, you can rewatch that, of course. Fantastic 15 minutes with the Leicester band. Don't forget they've got a show as well at the end of November. All you need to do is Google that, the Mercians. But on the pitch for the Foxes today, it is another point on the board. It's finished Leicester 1, Everton 1. Goodbye.